Hello, my friends. Good evening. This is once again Dr. Surendra Kumar before you. We are actually discussing since couple of days exploring human trafficking in the unexplored directions beyond the inclusive possibility. This is one of the things which my research focuses, and it's important for us to hang on and think about such kind of heinous things and practices across around in our society. It's about it talks about the secondary victimization of the trafficked persons who now have been rescued, and there's been an effort to put them on mainstream, to mainstream them. But during the process, what happens from once they were trafficked and now they're being mainstreamed, taken away from trafficked conditions, and efforts are being made to mainstream them during the process of prosecution, investigation. What actually happens, which is very deplorable, I would say, a very sad reality in our society, is like there happens to be a secondary victimization of those victims of human trafficking, which is nasty, which is despicable, which is highly pathological, I would say. Secondary victimization of those victims of trafficked, once they were trafficked, happens by those very people who are supposed to protect them, who are supposed to raise their voice, who are supposed to stand with them, such as like police personals, legal personals, and social activists, maybe many a times politicians. There is a comprehensive uh, thing, that people uh, cause them victimization once again. First, they were victimized by the traffickers, and now they have been out of their clutches by some legal possibilities and mechanisms and by some efforts. Of course, we agree and highly appreciate those possibilities and mechanisms. That's the reason these trafficked victims are out of their clutches out of the clutches of the traffickers. But once they are out of those clutches, secondary victimization also happens by by the police, by the investigators, by the researchers, by many sections of our society, we cause them. But absolutely, it happens during the process, prosecution, as like the legal community, and then it happens during the investigation and interrogation at the hand of police. So that becomes very pathetic situation, and it is really very difficult. It is not admissible at all uh, when we actually work and we research in human trafficking. So we need to think about this possibility also, which is like a very categorical social pathology. We call it secondary victimization, and directly affects those who are actually victims of human trafficking. It may be any possibility, it may be any reason they were trafficked for, but the secondary victimization happens to them, and it really breaks their life, shatters their life, and also causes a fertile ground for them to be trafficked again. The second trafficking happens on them, and there are a good number of people who were once trafficked and then rescued, then second time trafficked, then rescued, third time trafficked, and so on. The cycle goes on just because of secondary victimization. This is happening, and especially the police and investigative agencies are responsible, I would say, because out of the data, quantitative and qualitative, if we think and analyze those body of data, we can say, of course, there are certain sections of our society who are supposed to help trafficked victims are causing secondary victimization, which is also playing a fertile ground for them to be trafficked second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, and so on. The cycle goes on, which is very, I would say, sinister cycle, just because it's happening due to secondary victimization. Thanks a lot listening, watching. This is once again Dr. Surendra Kumar. Hope I've made some relevant points here.